Hello, welcome back to the Ascent of Mount Carmel YouTube channel. If this is the first time you're watching one of these videos, it suggests that you go back and watch the videos in numerical order. Though there are only a few pages in this chapter, there's a lot of information in it. So we're going to divide the chapter into 3 parts so that the lengths of the videos are more manageable. In this chapter, St. John refers to creatures, which are created things. Creatures are attachments, and you've probably run across discussions about attachments elsewhere. Many Catholic writers praise the virtue of detachment, getting rid of attachments. I like that in the book Ascent of Mount Carmel, creature seems to have a double meaning when it's translated into English. I think when we think of terms of what some creatures can be when they take a hold of us and they take on a life of their own, we can better understand it. And maybe the best example I could use is substance abuse. And I've talked to people who've had substance use problems, and they say that the term monkey on your back is really an apt analogy. Do you remember that public service announcement from the 1970s?
They say people addicted to heroin have a monkey on their back. Isn't that cute?
So a creature kind of takes on a life of its own. It clouds our judgment. Sometimes it makes us even do things we don't want to do, but it consumes us. And the biggest problem with a creature is that we spend a lot of time on it. What we think about the most, what we do the most, is what we love. If we spend more time with an addiction than we do with God, it stands to reason that we love that addiction more than God. What we're supposed to do, according to the first commandment, the most important commandment, is to love God with all our heart, mind, and soul. But if we spend it thinking about an addiction, we are violating that commandment. So let's expand it beyond substance abuse. Can a creature be pornography? Could it be gambling? Could it be alcohol? First, before it becomes a question in anybody's mind, let's establish that time spent with your family is not a creature. Even though we may spend a lot of time doing it, it's what follows the natural law written on our hearts. The family is a reflection of the kingdom of heaven, and we spend time with our families, nurturing them, teaching them, bringing them along, and making them feel wanted and loved. It's a good thing. It's not a creature. Unless we're a very great saint, we all have creatures. If we say we don't, we're probably deluding ourselves. Can a creature be something like television? Some good can come out of television. Say you rent a movie and make it an event and bring the family around, then television can be part of that. But what about if we turn it on first thing we wake up just for background noise? And then we just turn it on just to listen, and it sucks us all in, and the family is no longer communicating. It's no longer a special event. Instead of inspiring conversation between family members, that television replaces conversation between family members. Instead of bringing us together, it becomes a barrier. And that's what it becomes, a creature. If everybody takes up their spot in the living room, they turn on the television, and nobody says a thing, that television divides us. Worse yet, maybe everybody has a television in their own room, and they go off and watch television there. Well, that certainly hasn't brought anybody together. Personally, I hate television. For many, many years, I was a slave to it. The moment I woke up, I turned it on just for background noise. It made me basically a mindless zombie.
Zombie, oh zombie. Zombie, oh zombie. Zombie not go unless you tell him to go. Zombie. Zombie not go stop unless you tell him to stop. Zombie.
So the television was on to the time I went to sleep. And I think of the thousands of hours I spent just wasting, just staring vacantly at that. It sapped me, it robbed me of creativity. Things I could have been reaching for greater things. Worse yet, the programming on television really is not very good. It appeals to the lowest, basest emotions and desires in ourselves. A member of the Ascent of Mount Carmel group said, "Folks are conditioned to not even notice most of the horror they sit in front of anymore." Absolute travesty.
There's no moral mechanism existing nowadays.
Down below I have the link to a recent video from the Fatima Center. Father Gruner and John Venari were discussing violent video games. The comment that John Venari makes, however, could just as easily be applied to television.
Images that we allow into our imagination, yes, they are there permanently. Yes. That's why, we have to be careful of what we allow ourselves to look at, yes, because it burns an image into your mind, and these are the images that come to us in the middle of the night, yes, of when we're sleeping, when we're trying to pray the rosary at Mass, when we're driving. These images pop up, yes, and so do we really want to fill our head with these violent images?
A member of the Ascent of Mount Carmel group said, regarding television, the same can be said of social media. I started a long time ago. Firstly, I only have Catholic stuff on my news feed now. I have no person that shows up. If I want to check on one of my adult kids, I have to go to their page to see. I stick to my prayer life. Even so, I find I have to repent from reading the news. Stupid news, not major stuff. So social media can be an attachment, and it may be the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Another member of the Ascent of Mount Carmel group wrote, I regulate the dummy stuff. I like dog videos and suffer temptation to watch them for over 30 minutes. In regard to other attachments, coffee is an attachment. I think a cup of coffee is fine with a friend or even alone, but the real test is not having anything. And as the saints say, only eat or drink at meal times. And that is hard, especially with crazy life schedules and work schedules. Here's a question and answer that appeared in the Catholic Advance, which was the diocesan newspaper of the Wichita Diocese, and this appeared in the 1930s. The person asked the priest, is it wrong to have pet animals? And the priest answered, we have the duty to care for the animals created by God for our service. There are, however, people who make an idol of some pet animals, even preferring it to their fellow man. And this is wrong. It is a violation of the appointed order of nature. Certainly, those people sin, and may sin gravely, who prefer dumb animals to the immortal souls of children. The Ascent of Mount Carmel group also discussed whether pets can be attachments. One member wrote, pets are distractions, especially when human souls need love and help. The church militant does not include Fido. Well, I hope you enjoyed this installment. Please check out the Ascent of Mount Carmel group, which is linked down below. Also, please check out my Facebook page, which is also linked down below. And please, pray for the church.